All right, glad to have you join us on the program Flip Side with yours sincerely, Oluije Oihokai. Today on Flip Side, we'll be talking about adolescence, yes, dealing with pressure and the challenges. Lots of persons, they don't know that this set of persons, yes, have what we call a timing where they need to be talked to, a time where they need to be called aside to ask them what is actually happening in their life. Anyway, adolescence is the phase of life between childhood and adulthood from age 10 to 19. It is a unique stage of human development and an important time for laying the foundations of good health. Now, adolescents experience rapid physical, cognitive, and psychosocial growth. Now, these affect how they feel, think, and the decisions they also make. Now, interactions with the world around them and how they also interact with their peers. Now, to discuss with us, to give us more insight on the world of the adolescents, yes, the world of the youth, and letting us know what's actually happening with them. We have a counselor in our midst, and when I saw her face, I was all smiling, and she's looking so pretty. She is Mrs. Christiana Ojonileme Aronwa. I hope I got that right.
Yes, you got it right.
Sorry, what's from what part of Nigeria, from what part of, I think, Edo State, right?
Yes, my husband is an Edo man.
Okay.
But I'm from Delta.
Okay, you're from Delta.
Yes.
All right, so nice to have you here today.
Indeed, so
And we also have Barrister Israel Adudu. Good afternoon, sir.
It's my pleasure to be here. I'm blessed among women.
All right, so wherever you are in Benin City, Edo State, Nigeria, please do well, especially if you've not left your house. Do well to go with your umbrella, because right now, the way the rain is coming and going, you just need to get yourself handy. All right, quickly now, let's dive into what we are here for. Adolescents, dealing with the pressures, dealing with the challenges. Now, does society actually know that this set of persons, this group of persons, they go through pressures, they go through challenges? I think we'll be starting with our counselor in our midst.
Okay. Well, nice having you on the show.
Yeah.
I would want to also start by saying something about adolescent stage.
Okay. Okay.
This is something people don't really understand. They call it a teenage age sometimes.
Yeah.
And this age is a very sensitive age. We should understand from the what's it called, childhood stage, which is the learning stage. We expose them to knowledge, and right now at this very stage of their life, whatever it is that has been imparted on them, these people are ready to explore. They want to know. They are so curious. So most people don't tend to, I would say 50–90% of people don't know that this stage really needs so much of concern. Yeah.
Okay. Now to Barrister Adudu, who happens to be a pastor also. Yeah. So to you, do you feel society has given them time to actually get themselves together and not giving them pressure and causing them having some challenges? Do you feel society actually welcomes the fact that these kids, yes, I will say these kids are actually people that we should bring together and counsel them?
All right, I will start by saying that because when we say society, we are looking at the Nigerian society. It is sad anyway to start by saying that the Nigerian society as it is, we tend to run our lives by native intelligence. We tend to run our life by common sense. There's no formal education that seems to prepare us. That's why even when you go to school, most times you are taught books. Nobody is interested in your personal being, which is even far greater than, because whatever you are taught in school is to create a perspective. So the person first must be worked on. So if you ask me generally, I will tell you that the society has not made adequate provision to prepare the child for the adolescent life. So that's why we are seeing what we are saying today. Because when the people are not well trained, our pastor will always say, if you don't train them, don't blame them. You only blame the man or the person you have trained. So I don't think society has done enough in terms of training these people for the future ahead.
Okay, now pressure. So many persons out there, they don't feel these teenagers, adolescents, like we will call them, are being faced with pressure. Now, someone out there listening to us right now will say, do they actually have pressure? Do they have challenges? What are they thinking about? Or that don't they have everything is at their beck and call? They need school fees, they get it. They want food, they get it. So what are these pressures ongoing in the lives of these teenagers? To our counselor.
Okay. Well, it would be an excuse to say people out there don't know that they are going through pressures. I mean the teenagers.
Yeah.
If you look at the statistics.
Now, sorry, when you say people, do you mean the parents, the teachers, society? Who are the people?
Well, I will generalize because when it comes to training a child, it is not left to a parent any longer.
Yeah.
It is a collective thing. While the child is in school, in church, wherever the child finds herself, it is then in what's it called, in the olden days, even your neighbor can train your child for you.
True.
But these days, maybe while we are looking at it as streamlined to parents alone, is because most of the children are kept indoor. But not to forget that these children are exposed to so many activities day by day. And like it or not, our economy, even the technology, whatever it is, the development, even the stages of life gives them so much of pressure. When I mean the exposure, the technology, taking an example of our phone, the gadgets, even our parents get for these children, you'd see them going to different sites, they see different displays on televisions, you'd look at them and they themselves want to be like these people. They expose them to Nollywood, you see them seeing stars, they want to be like celebrity, they want to be stars automatically. And all these are pressures. They've not even gotten to some stages yet. They want to behave like that person. These are inner pressure that they go through. I used to stay with a teenager, or she stayed with me actually. And as of that stage, what she was curious about, what she really wanted, when she exposed herself to me, I was like, are you serious? This is what you want? The kind of shoe, she takes her phone, all she browses about is shoes. Clothing. Yes, that's what the society has caused her. Because she wants to be like who she's seeing out there. And she doesn't know that all of these are just drama. They are playlets. They're just packaged together. And these are things putting our teenagers under pressure. So much pressure, I must say.
Okay, so Barrister Adodo, let's take our mind back when we were still young. So what's the difference between back then and now? The teenagers back then and now, are there any disparity between back then and now?
I think the difference presently is exposure. The exposure is now very different. In fact, it is miles apart. You know, while we are growing up, there were things we were not exposed to. Except we are from the very wealthy family. Even if you are from the wealthy family, the kind of music you see on TV then, it was different. There are some things people wear then, I will still frown at it. But now if you are on that kind of attire, you are seen as a born again, whatever. But now it is something else. It is something else. So I think there's a lot of exposure in this generation. And it is something that if attention is not given to, it's going to ruin the future of our youth. So I think exposure is basically what has changed.
Now our counselor said something about parenting is not just for one person, but for everyone that knows, what this child is doing is wrong. That actually happens to me. I know my neighbor, maybe we're supposed to, she knows when we're supposed to get home, and we get home the wrong time, and she will like say, why are you getting home by this time? So what happened to the present day generation where an outsider, a stranger, sees a child misbehaving, and that stranger can't even correct such a one? So what has changed? That will, okay, no, anybody can actually answer this. So we want to know what has actually made society change.
Like the councillor said, and I totally agree with our host, that before now, a child was the property of the entire society. If a child lives in a neighborhood, it is assumed that every responsible father or mother there is in charge for the upbringing. But that has changed radically. These days, we have built tall fences. At times, you don't even know the children of your neighbor. And even when you finally see them, getting close to them is like, mainly when you are not in the same social class with such people. It is assumed to be an aberration, an abomination, and you are treated like a leper. So because of that, people are now being careful. I think sometime last month, one of my daughters did something wrong in school. And the teacher was telling me that, look at what your daughter did, but you know, you are a lawyer. We don't know how we should punish her or not. You will sue us. And I said, no, if she does it, punish her. Because when you look at, I did a bit of advanced criminology and psychology in my master's degree. And when you do a bit of that, you understand that there are some theories that explain certain behavior that leads to crime. Now, one of the theory is the behavioral theory. Under this theory, it is assumed that as a child grows, mainly at the stage of adolescence, you know, at that stage, the state of curiosity, is the stage where you want to try everything and all of that. And when a child tries these things, if the person looking at the child does not respond appropriately, the child believes that is the norm. For instance, if, I know when we were growing up, I don't know, there were some persons, they wanted to try smoking. Because you don't have access to cigarettes, you light a match, then you do the smoke, put it in your mouth, and then you blow it out, and you feel like, now if an adult sees you, and the person laughs with you as if there's nothing wrong with it, you think it's normal. So, at that behavioral theory responded that if a child is growing, and attitude that appears to be alien to the culture is being exhibited, it is expected that the child is corrected. Because the minute you don't correct a child, which means you are commending it, and the child sees as something you should internalize, and it becomes a part of it. So that's why most times the parents may not always be there when the person misbehaves. It can be somebody passing by, and all. When you see it, we should encourage it, at least. We should get back. You know, when we talk about civilization, it's not everything that comes with civilization you embrace. We still have some sound moral standard as Nigerians, as Africans, that I think we should imbibe. They are very valid. So, then look at it. Society raising children is one of them, and we must learn to give it a thumb up.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Pastor Barrister Adudu. Okay, now, so I love calling, sorry, I'm not calling your name, but counselor. Okay, now to our counselor. Now, so many parents out there, they don't know that they have impact on their children, either negatively or positively. Now, so as a parent, now thank God you are a parent, and Barrister Adudu is also a parent now. How do we as parents, you know, assess or bring in pressure towards these teenagers, in a nutshell, making them have, let me say, low self-esteem on themselves?
That's a big question. The truth is, this is something society actually faces every day. And we parents are even increasing it. Most of the time, this particular pressure is even started from home. When you start making comparison, that's one of the ways. When you start comparing one child with the other, you started building the major pressure inside of your child. And when that child feels like, oh, I'm not up to the standard, they don't even feel like, you understand, they're not welcoming. They just see themselves like, I'm inferior. And that is the beginning of their problem. The major challenge is we should try to understand, learn our child, learn to understand the kind of child you are dealing with, because different child comes with different personality. We all are not the same. So now when you know that this child is like this, and it actually takes so much, if you know as a parent you can't even train the child, you should look for a counselor. Yes, it is something you can do. Introduce the child to a counselor. Make the child befriend the counselor, such that the counselor will do your work. That can also help.
Okay.
And basically, what that counselor will need to do is understand that child, know the kind of environment that child will be able to work perfectly, and also the environment that will bring out the best in the child, and what exactly that child will be up to. Because everyone, if you look at even our behaviors, you will tell that, okay, looking at barrister, you would know that this is a barrister. There's times when I just walk on children and someone will say, are you a teacher? Yes, I would say I'm a teacher. I don't know the attitude I've actually exhibited, but it's like, it's something that is a personality.
It's innate.
Do you understand? And that is how these children are. From childhood, you can tell if you really take proper care or take your time. But so many of the time, our parents, in fact, most of us, I grew up in a home where my mom was very busy too.
Too busy.
She goes out in the morning and comes back around 4. So where is the time? And sometimes she comes back, she's hurrying to cook, trying to prepare for everybody, and there's really no time. And it's still happening up to now, even to me. So you can understand that. So in that kind of a society, where is the time for the parents to even understand the child? And all you want is that the child should live up to expectation. How do you want that to happen? Automatically, because child A is behaving like this, is performing excellently, is behaving so perfectly, and is so moral, and you have not played your part. Then you are putting that child to more problems. The only thing you can do is try to understand the child, encourage the child. Then when you see that, okay, this part of this child is not so balanced, then you really have to come closer to the child. You must take your own pain. It is your duty as a parent to come close to the child and ensure that that child lives up to expectation. Like someone said that whatever it is a child becomes, it is the role of the parents. If you want your child to be a medical doctor, you can. It is from the childhood. You start imbibing the culture, telling the child, changing their mentality. This is what I want you to be. This is why I want you to be. And this is the reason. This is what is going to benefit you. When you start talking to a child like that, nobody does not want good thing. You see the child naturally responding and becoming the better version of the child.
Okay. I believe Barrister Adodo has something to say about this.
Yes, you see, there are 3 factors that regulate who your child becomes. The number 1 is the family. The number 2 is the environment. The number 3 is the media. You see, if you are able to check these 3 aspects of a child's life, you are going to end up bringing up children that will indeed become your joy and rejoicing. So I agree totally with her that the society, the family, everything must come together to ensure that we don't just roll over children that become an embarrassment, because it is one thing to be, because the essence of being busy is to advance in your career, become wealthier. Now, beside all of these things, if you become very successful in other aspects in your life and you fail in raising a good child, you have failed. Because every child is supposed to be an improvement on whom the parents are now. So that's why you start from correcting the children not to make the mistake you make while you were growing up, and then you not teach them what the future was for them ahead. So it's a responsibility that everyone must wake up to. So the family, you must start from the family. Whether you are busy or not, you must create time. You must know what these children are going through. If you engage on children these days and they tell you things, I did a case recently that involved sexual violence and all of those things. And even the judge was embarrassed that, you these parents, where were you people before this man? You know, this teacher-student relationship these days. Before this man finished this, your daughter like this. Parents, they don't check, they don't care, you don't know what is happening. So
and they don't even have discussions with their children.
They don't.
The relationship.
They don't. Now, that's why when she mentioned that, for instance, that you can allow the counselors to do the job. You see, it's still not too complete. There are some things you can't delegate. It's very difficult. I know that that's when you don't have option anymore. But there are some things you can't delegate, and parenting is one of them. They want to feel the love. They want to feel the care. They want to feel that presence. So the family must wake up, follow up on your children, check their books. I still, as busy as I am, if I tell you my commitment, you'll be surprised. I still make sure every evening that I do the assignment with my kids. is a duty I have. Like my wife can be busy doing other things, or if she wants to do it voluntarily, no problem. But I ensure.
Take it upon yourself.
Yes, I want to see the level of their growth. I didn't have that privilege, so my children should have it. So we should, I think, start from the family, because the family is a basic means of socialization.
Okay, now before we go to schools, if to our counselor, if in your years of being a counselor now, have you taken your time out to make research to see if some schools, yes, let me use that word now, some schools, they take out time to actually have a guidance and counselor units? Because I know when I was growing up then, we had one in my school. So I don't know if now, if it still happens or if it still entails to all schools out there. So I don't know, in your own practice, years of practice, now have you tried going to make some research to see, because you did talk about children going to the counselors to go talk to the counselor and everything, or the teacher taking the child to the counselor. Now, have you made a research to see if these things actually happens, if some schools, because we know some schools, they just have a name, and when you get deep into the school environment, you will not actually see the nitty-gritty, the things that are supposed to be there as a school, the standard, supposed to be.
Well, as for research, I would say no.
No, as far no, you don't have. Or
no, I'm talking of a personal research to do such a surveillance.
All right.
But looking at the makeup of a school, their prerequisites, their requirements for schools, aside having teachers and classrooms and chairs with students, you should have counselors, you should have an health practitioners to have a sick bill and all that. So it is necessary that schools have counselors. But nowadays, you can just see a building and it's a school. So you don't expect, and in fact, look at Benin City, it's filled up with thousands of schools. And how many can you really count that really have counselor or counseling units? So, but it is not about, there are some persons that can work as counselors. I mean the teachers. You don't really have to have a section, though that is very necessary, because it also takes time. It's like you're teaching. Imagine staying with a child, because most of the time, these children, all they need is just your time. And if you have to combine that with teaching, you might not really have enough time to do those together. And that is why it is good that schools should have a section or delegate someone to be a counselor.
Okay. Now, we're still talking about school now to Barrister Adodo. How has the school made a child, or how can the school environment make the child fall under pressure, wanting to get some particular grades he or she knows she can't actually afford, or getting excellent results? So in all of this, what is the contribution of the school in making sure that pressure and challenges that these young ones go through, it doesn't come to them?
Now, I will look at it from two ways. The number one is the peer pressure. All right, that one has always been there. Outside the family, the next most vital means of socialization is your friends, your peer, and all of those things. So most times, it is natural to want to beat them to their game. It is natural to want to do more than them. It is natural to want to outsmart and all of those things. So, and also, you can also, I know of people at times who have never been involved in anything that has to do with examination malpractice. But the minute they have friends that do it, and they have noticed they read all night, they come to the exam, or their friend doesn't read, and the exam result is out, that one gets higher, and they are worried, like, what was all this?
How did you do it?
So the next day, they may not carry the whatever themselves, they sit closer to the person, they become a beneficiary, and the next time, if that one is not there, they have to. So the pressure is manned, but it's there. You get it? So that's one. Then for the school, now, I have always argued different fora that the Nigerian educational system is long overdue. The Nigerian educational system is not the best for now. I think the curriculum needs to be changed. The mode of teaching needs to be changed, and all of that. Someone said Nigerian educational system is like you bring a monkey, you bring a lion, you bring a goat, and you bring a fish. and you tell them, all of them, to enter the river and swim, the fastest swimmer is the winner.
Okay.
And in that kind of competition, you should know that effortlessly, the fish is going to emerge the winner. And that's what we see today. Now, we pack everybody in one class. Whether you want to become a lawyer, for instance, at the beginning does not matter. You want to become a doctor, does not matter. Everybody is graded equally. Nobody is interested on your area of interest. And most times, you know, if you are not careful once, those that are doing well in certain area, once you keep seeing them, and it appears you are not looking as if you are the bad one. You want to do everything to meet up. So most times it also influences, it pushes whoever is there to you want to build your esteem. You want to also be seen to be top in the class. That's why in most schools, in advanced school, nobody's interested in your grade. Like, there's nothing like first in the class, second in the class. Those things are outdated. Let people be assessed based on their area of interest, their strength and their weakness. Yes.
Okay, Councillor. I saw it when you were, you know, smiling and nodding your head.
Yes, I remember my primary school. Because I wasn't the very, very intelligent child growing. Yes, I was from the average. And that's because there was nobody that cared about me. I was just going to school, coming back, and make sure you read yourself. And one thing that I remember, I attended Nigerian Navy Primary School.
Okay.
What they did is, from the basic, they already know you, such that there's this grading they do for classes. There's primary 1A, primary 1B, B, C, D, like that, up to E. What that simply does is, for those in A, those are the excellents. Yes, that's it. Then those in B are like very good, average, like that. That's how the grading is. I was always in C until.
Yeah. You yourself to be dull.
No, I didn't even understand what they were doing that time. I didn't know that I was in primary 1C, primary 2. It was later on. And the funny part is, when I finished primary school, when I got to secondary school, the first result was first. I still wonder how. You know, that kind of how did it happen when they brought my results.
Yes.
But I knew that class helped me because I was able to flow with everyone there. But when I was taken to A, are you getting it? That would have probably caused a lot of harm. And this is what happens in schools these days. I don't think that culture is being imbibed because, number one, there are not enough classes even to contain all the harms. Separating them. So how do you want to do it? So what they just do basically is fix all of them in one class. And after you've probably written exam, then they push you, then the other ones that did not perform well, they just drop you or you just fail. That's what they do these days. Okay,
quickly, before we go on a break, now you talked about pushing children. Why is it that when a teacher tells the parents, your child can't go to the next level, your child can't go to the next class, you find the parents already fuming? Let's hold it down. When we come back after this break, our counselor and barrister Pastor Adodo will be letting us in on all of this. Don't go nowhere. All right, welcome back, and we're still on Flip Side with the topic title, Adolescents Dealing with Pressure and, of course, the challenges that these children they face. Before the break, yes, we were talking about parents now because of the answer you actually gave. So we want to know, why do parents not want to listen to teachers when a teacher comes and tell you, your child can go to the next level, and you be, oh, my child is brilliant, my child is this, my child is that. You're not the one teaching, and you don't even take extra pain to say you want to put your child through, schooling. Now, yesterday, I had to call my daughter. Okay, you have maths exams today. Let's get your knowledge on to see what's happening in school. Okay, I said, let's do multiplication and addition. Now, I said, Emma, do the addition. Do you know she actually did the addition? Now, it came to multiplication, and she mixed it all up. But just because I had to take extra pain to remind her that, okay, this is how it ought to be. Now, for a parent who doesn't do that and just leave education to the teachers, and you meet the teacher and the teacher tells you, no, your child can't go further. What will you, as a counselor, we need you to counsel those parents that they just want to, you know, push their child. So we want to know, how will this impact the child psychologically, and also the pressure on that child?
Well, for parents out there that have probably done this, I would take it like an ignorance. Yes, because sometimes maybe I would say financial costs. Maybe after weighing how much they have spent at that particular class.
Okay, because the child has to repeat the same class.
And they have to pay, buy some books again. Some schools make it terrible that way.
Yeah.
They will tell you must buy everything.
The same book
yes,
again,
maybe that's why they just prefer to push the child.
Okay.
I would just say that is an ignorance. But on a lighter note, such should not happen. Because it's best when a child flows with their age. Especially when it comes to, there's a way they call it, there's a class, there's a psychological balance between your age and
the
class.
class.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you overshoot a particular class, though there's some age, there's some category of children that could do that. But when you know your child's level
Of intelligence.
And you tend to push that child beyond boundary, you would only cause that child harm. Yes, because emotionally they'll be so if they were performing excellent. I've taught children that they were performing excellently well until they were pushed. They did I don't know what they call it, double promotion. And when they got to that class, they started behaving dull. Not because of anything, they were actually still intelligent, but at that level, probably they were feeling intimidated. The other persons, the way they were talking, the way they were behaving, they were not at that level at all, such that you could identify. In fact, most times you say, how old are you? Because the behavior is different. And it also affects their level of assimilation too. They don't assimilate as much as us. So the best I would advise parents is, whatever it is your child's teacher tells you, just allow them. They should know better when it comes to the academy of your child, especially as relating to studies, because they relate to these children. They are the ones teaching them. They know better. So if you so trust the school, you trust the teacher, such that you left the child under the term for 1, 2, 3 terms, then you should be able to also judge and accept their judgment. So most of all, I would beg parents, allow them give the final verdict. Let them know if they are going to repeat the child, pass the child, or demote it. Whatever they want to do, just allow them.
Okay, now, I actually wrote this down. So, what strategies can schools implement? So, I'll come over again. What strategies can schools implement to help alleviate pressure on students and create a more supportive environment?
Strategies.
So I think I should give you a breather.
I think so.
Barrister Adudu.
You see, anytime we shift our focus lens to the school, we are not doing a good job, because you see, everything does not rise and end with the school. It starts from the home. So let's take it that way. What medium can the school, the society, the family take to reduce the pressure? I think that's what you're looking at. Now, I think counseling becomes very important, even from the home. Once you know what your children, what they are made of, because I think the number one responsibility of every parent is to know their child. Once they are going under pressure, you should not. You should be able to notice it, that there's something changing about this child. By the time I noticed my daughter, when she come back from school, she was looking calmer than ever. I have to, what was happening? You used to be playful. I didn't know she was gradually getting sick. Because when she finally broke down, you know, most times we don't notice this thing. But she was someone that was always hyper. So you have to get close to them. It's counseling. From the school, the environment, the society, we must all be involved. Like we started with that, the child upbringing is the responsibility of everyone. So we must be involved to know how their mind is working. Mainly when you talk about adolescence, it's a very fragile stage. When you miss it at adolescence, it is very difficult. It's like the popular saying that once the crayfish is bent, you can't straight it again until once you miss it at the point of adolescence, it becomes very difficult. But you know why we're having this challenge? I did a series in church that talks about the purpose of fatherhood on Father's Day. Because most people don't even understand the purpose of being a father.
Your mother.
So just felt, okay, and we are married now, it's time for us to start producing children. No.
Procreation.
Now the issue is at first, what was the purpose of the marriage? If it was attraction, get married, do family planning, and enjoy yourselves until you are ready, because there is pressure that comes with parenting. As I'm here and I still need to run out of this studio today, it was wrong. It is pressure for me. Even when other things happen today, has to be around these houses, I still have to go to town to go and get. It is pressure. So you must be psychologically prepared. Even as a mother, it is not for the faint-hearted. You must be involved in their life, because these kids they have the energy. You have to also match their energy. So you get it. So we have to be ready psychologically. You as a parent, you have to be psychologically ready. You have to know that these children, this is a pattern. You have to have a growth plan.
Okay.
This is what I want to make out of my children. From the very early stage, this is where you are pushing them towards. So that's where it starts from, counseling.
Okay.
Yes.
Counseling. Like,
Like it's coming back to me.
it's coming back to you.
Well, like you said, I'm going back to your question, the strategy at which schools should implement to avoid so much of pressures. Well, there are so many strategies that can be used, and I think are being used basically in most schools. Uniform is one of it.
Okay.
The reason you don't see children go to school on their mufti is not to show off their clothing, so others don't feel intimidated.
Yes.
Then some schools prefer a low cut. Rather than making them, you see even some schools these days, some private schools, they go with
all back.
It's only all back.
They
So
have
maybe
specific.
do you understand? Thread.
Okay,
All this is just to curb those pressures. Then some of them don't allow phones in schools. Yes, if you have phone, keep it at home. These are ways so that everyone comes to school and you're just normal. You're at the same level. Nobody is feeling pressured by the other. Yeah, I think there's still so many.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
but this is
All right, so some parents, they actually don't know how to talk to their kids, especially when they get to this adolescent age. You find some parents, some fathers, especially fathers, if someone does something to you, when you get home, you receive double portion of what actually happened to you outside there. So I feel right now, this is another opportunity for us to educate parents out there on how they can, draw their kids closer, the methods. Yeah, so we need to know how can parents talk to their children in order for them to open up to them. To say, okay, this is what is happening to me right now. This is the stage I am. This is what I am facing. This is the pressure I'm getting, the challenges I'm getting. So what are the methods that parents can imbibe to talk to their teenagers?
This is something I would want to say. It's something you don't just start overnight. You don't wait until they are teenagers. You must start while they are babies.
Okay.
Now, you must start to love your child. Like my dad told me, I'm close to my dad. So he said, he was telling somebody that the closeness did not start when I'd already grown.
Yeah.
That he works as a mechanic. When he goes to the shop, he comes back late at night. When he comes back, he must carry me. That it is a must. He must carry me. And me, I'm just a child. But that was where the bond built.
Yeah.
And it grew up even till, even while I was having a relationship, I could tell my dad everything. And that was it. So parents should draw these children close. When they see that children naturally, I don't know, someone played a trick on a child where I work. The child does not like him. But every time he resumes office, he must go to the office and call the child. So that the child will run, do some kind of style, shakara like that. But how many months? Just few months. The child started, even others that you think, this child loves me, the child started leaving others. So that the man just come around, wait, come, you just run and hug him. And the bond was so close. That's tell you that children know when you're actually interested in them, which is normal with everybody. You know when somebody is interested. Yes, at some point, you may shy away, you may feel far away, but with time, you loosen up. And these children are like that too. There are times when they feel, oh, my mommy, maybe because of the way you behave to others, you are so hard. So the impression is already built. But when you come close and you behave soft to them, you draw them close, you talk to them, you see, you even buy them things, you make them know that I love you. Say it with actions and in words. Gradually, these children just loosen up, and they will start telling you what you don't even expect.
So in a nutshell, you're saying the upbringing should start from the cradle.
Yes.
Not until when the child is already full grown, like Pastor Adodo will say, when the okra, the has already bent.
If I will just add to what she has said, I think in one word, it is, you have to befriend your children.
Yes.
Okay.
You see, as Africans, because of the colonial experience we had, we have come to internalize it. We believe that anytime you want to get someone to do something, it has to be by violence. That you have to be tough. That's why even our leader, that's why those that cut tickets in the streets, it is believed that the drivers, their head, not theirs. So they
have to be tough.
That it has to be by force. Is that colonial mentality where you have to be whipped to do the right thing. Now, I'm saying this to say that to correct a child doesn't always have to be by the rod. You understand? Yeah. When you befriend your child, there are some children, by flogging, they become more wicked, they become more stubborn. There are some children flogging will work for. Mainly female, when you flog female child, it's very easy. Next time they are. But for guys, when we are growing up at a point, because I was so flogged, I have some set of friends, we have to go to the back of the house, we're learning how to receive cane. Because we already knew that anytime we go wrong, they will flog you. So we're trying to say, okay, flog material, I won't cry. Try it. They will flog, did I cry? I said, no, okay. And even at times, I don't know if you can remember, we are going to school, then we are going late. You have to wear a lot of
trousers.
Because you have already predetermined that they will flog you on your buttocks.
Yeah, that's true. I remember a friend of mine. He actually wore his shirt and placed a book on his bum, and when the teacher flogged the sound it made, I was like, I don't understand. Why is he sound like this? So they had to check the child, and they brought out the book.
So that idea, you must first, you have to look at your children. This one, flogging works for this one. This one, counseling works for this one. You befriend them, you now know. They know that you have known them because, like she said, until they can trust you, they can't confide in you. Until they trust you, they cannot. It's only when you have befriended over time. Then when you are going through stress, you know that, oh, I can talk to my dad, I can talk to my mom. Because there are some persons now, they're afraid to talk to outsiders and talk to their parents because the parents come home, everybody is running, they are excited as if they are the lion of the tribe of Judah of their house. That's not how it should be. Your children should be excited anytime you are coming home. So that's it. You have to befriend your children. It becomes easy for them to open up and follow up on their growth. All
right, our counselor, what are these red flags that our parents, they need to look out for in the life of an adolescent? Like, I don't know, say some mothers, I don't know, say, don't start to behave like this, so I never knew he has, turned like this and all of that. So we need to know what are some of these red flags that we as parents, we should, look out for and say, okay, oh, so this child has gotten to this stage, so I need to, come in.
Well, I'll take my teenagers as an instance because I'm already used to them and their behavioral pattern. Okay. When they become abnormally quiet, it sends a signal. That's a red flag that something is wrong. It may, like you used the daughter, it may be probably health situation, but that's a signal that will now require you as a person to go and make inquiry to find out what exactly. Then there are times when you'd see a child, they want to dress on a normal. You could send her to buy you something across the road, and she doesn't even bother about how she's looking. But immediately you send her and she's rushing inside
to go change.
To go and change. And when she even changed, you could see the difference between someone that is going to market and somebody that is just going opposite.
Yeah.
That tells you that something is already wrong. And you could also try to monitor them closely in terms of, there are times somebody played a trick, gave her a phone, such that we wanted her to just enjoy herself. So it's her phone, told her this is your phone. And use it to monitor activity. What is it and who is it that she's talking to?
Okay.
That can also help. Then, there are so many children that it's really difficult. Some of them are so tough that inside they behave so calm.
Yeah, then outside.
It is when they are outside that they display. Now, it is now left for the parents too. Like I remember when I was in school, all my teachers, they were my monitoring spirits. Yes, I had all of them as monitoring spirits, such I can never misbehave. So it is left for parents to also befriend their teachers and also give people around an assignment that please, this child monitor her for me. I'm not around. I want it. So they will always give you feedback. And you would also know by their attitude. Because some of them may not want to tell you some negative things. They want to tell you only positive things. But when you ask some questions and you're seeing the reply, you should be able to pick 1, 2, 3 together and tell that this is what is happening.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Barrister Adudu, so what do you feel a parent, you are a parent, so what do you feel the red flags a parent should look out for?
Just to add to what she has said, the behavioral pattern, it changes. Once a child starts behaving strange, for instance, a child starts trying to make up, you have to be careful. What is this child seeing? Now, I know of somebody that discovered that his younger sister was pregnant because of the go-go session. So she took the elder brother's phone, was just checking on Google how to terminate pregnancy. So when the guy was, after I retrieved the phone, he was trying to, the thing popped up. How to, you know, remember, this was the person I gave my phone the last time. Come, what was happening? Why did you go on? That was when I discovered that she was pregnant. So you have to, it's a thorough work. That's why when I'm saying that giving birth is easy. But the job is a lifetime job, is very thorough. So you have to watch every of their behavioral pattern. When there is any change, you have to check to know what has happened. Yes.
Okay.
And also, let me also add that another red flag that you can look out for is their kind of friends. You are a parent, you must know the friends that your children keep. As I am now, I know the friends of my first daughter, I know the friends. They are small, but I know when they come back, when I'm driving them back, who is your friend in class? This one. What did this one do? One was telling me one day that, look at this, my friend, he stole the class, so he stole the class. I said, but after a week, I asked, does he still? He said, no, he has stopped. And I said, okay, which means don't tell him that he's a thief anymore. He said, no, he has changed, he doesn't steal again. You have to know their kind of friends. Because we're in a generation where people are no longer, how can you have a child, an adolescent, and he's coming home with a friend that is carrying dada? It's a red flag. Don't tell me that your look does not determine who you are. It determines how you think.
Okay.
It's a red flag. You have a daughter is coming home with a friend, and the way the person is dressed, it looks seductive, and the daughter is not dressing like that yet. You should know that this is where your daughter is going to. So you have to check on their friends. You have to know who they talk to. You have to know who they relate with. Yes, so their friends is very, very important. Once they have a bad one, it's a red flag.
Okay.
Let me also add that when they come back, and they come back with some abnormal gifts.
Wow.
It's when you're talking, I just realized it, that you see some children, they're coming back with roses, coming back with even...
Really Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day.
Mine was diary then, one lovely diary, but these are red flags.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, coincidentally, you are a pastor and a barrister. So let's move to the pastor side of you. Now, as a pastor, do you take out time to preach in the church concerning how parents should, deal with their teenagers, their teenage children at home, and also talking to the teenage youth in your midst that on how they should actually cope in life?
One of my colleagues in the office saw my video recently on here, and he was saying that it appears in your church, all you message you preach is always on marriage and relationship. And I do that intentionally. I've noticed that the major problem society has today starts from the family. So the church must focus on the family. Now, it's good to preach about Abraham, but if you are not relating it to what is relevant, the Bible said Abraham, God entrusted Abraham with the covenant of being the father of all nations. He said, because I know that he will instruct his children. Yeah. So you have to, in our church, it's something we focus on. If you have run into some of the messages of our father-in-law, Pastor as well, you will see that most times it's hammering on it. On children, on parents, on marriages. Because a failed marriage is a failed, it will bet a failed children. It will bet, if for instance you are a father and you beat your wife, most times even the presence of your children. Don't, there's nothing you can do about it except by special intervention, counseling and deliverance. The child is going to end up to be a wife beater, or even the female child is going to be so aggressive in his marriage. So as a church, we are very focused on it. I want to encourage every other churches. I believe a lot of churches are doing so much in that regard. So that's why we are also very interested in the kind of persons we have our children teacher. I may not be chance to go and discuss this with the children, but we have persons that we keep training over time. These days, children's session in school is not even more than where they just come and hear stories. We tell them things, we expose them, even beyond Bible. At times we will expose them to teaching on IT, how to use the computers, so that they can know the generation they are in and the challenges that they are expected to face. Yes. Yeah. So the church, I think, is doing a lot in that regard.
Okay, all right. So before we go, our last word, yes, as our counselor. We know in all of this, we are centering our focus on how the counselors out there, we all are counselors, either being as a pastor, a parent, the government, we all are counselors. So we want to know, how can we, or what advice, yes, do you have to everyone listening and watching us today on how to bring up an adolescent, on how to educate an adolescent, on how to tell this person, especially the youth, yes, the teenagers, on how to, you know, be a better person, on how to stand on their own and say, you can't choose me as a friend, but I will be the one to tell you who my friends will be.
Well, as a society which comprises of both the church, the parents, the home, which is the family, and everyone at large, we all have responsibility, and we should just know it. That is one thing. And to the parents, befriend your children. To the society, just know these are your rules. Give them your best, whatever it takes. And for everyone, live by example. If you want good teenagers, then live as an adult, a good adult. Yes.
All right, thank you to our teacher, counselor, so there's no teacher along with you. Teacher, counselor, thank you so much for being part of the show. God bless you. And thank you to Pastor Barrister Adudu for coming with us. Thank you, Councillor Christiana. It has been an exciting time hanging out with you today on Flipside. It has been adolescents dealing with the pressure and difficulties that comes with it. Remember, we are all together in this race. So I'll be seeing you again next week for another exciting time. Do have yourself a blessed day. Bye for now.